Wine arrives at the mansion with the minimum luggage. You might wonder why the wealthy and powerful mafia would take in just anyone. Well, they are the mafia. They take people to make them their slaves or maid. If someone disrespects them, they kill them without hesitation. Even if the news of mansion leaks, they do not let anyone. But you are not a maid or a servant, you are a doctor. You have forced you to stay here until the mafia leader Kim Tang fully recovers. You have decided to do everything you can help Tang recover quickly so you can leave. Back to the story. Dr. Wen, are you here? He gives a smile and signals to maid to come. Yes, Mr. Kim, I will do my best to heal Tang as quickly as possible and leave this place. She smiled after saying this, but Namjoon doesn't say anything for a moment. Then he forces a smile. Your room is ready, right next to Tang's. You nod and then the maid starts leading. As you walk towards your room, you glance into Tang's room, and he is sleeping in bed. Just looking at his face makes your heart race. You gulp and enter your room. The maids bow to you and leave. You close the door and start placing your clothes. Any other girl would be head over heels for this mansion and its grandeur, but you are not affected by these things. You are a doctor content with what you earn because your goal is not money but saving lives. As for staying at Tang's house for his health checkup, you are being paid 3 times more than what you were initially told. However, you are not here for the money. You are here because Tang's privately owns a hospital where you work. You have been encouraged from all sides to stay with Taehyung and help him. Maid, Mr. Namjoon has invited you for dinner downstairs, but if you prefer, you can have your meal here in the room, she said. A girl who looked about your age spoke to you. You looked at her face, her expression showed bitterness, but you don't want to. I want to have dinner downstairs, you nodded and stepped out of the room to go with her. You were trying to catch a glimpse of Taehyung's room again when the maid opened the door and went inside his room. You frowned at her. You were taken to my dining area, right? You pointed your finger and politely asked. Maid, first time here and Mr. Namjoon asked me to check on Taehyung. He specially asked me to help him as it's time to change Taehyung's dressing. So can you step back? I need to close the door. You are taken back by his sudden behavior. You tilt your head. You glance at Taehyung for a moment, then at Hia, who folds her arms and waits for you to leave. You turn and walk away. After leaving the corridor, you see the stairs and feel relieved that you didn't get lost. After coming downstairs, you see Namjoon sitting on the couch. When he notices you, he smiles. Thanks for inviting me to dinner. What are you saying? You are here as a guest. Yeah, thanks again. Paying guest. You and Namjoon go to the dining area and the maid served the food. Did Taehyung have dinner? I went to ask him, but he clearly said he doesn't want to eat right now. Your eyes widen. What he need to eat, he has to follow the diet plan I gave him, otherwise his injuries won't heal properly. Yeah, I told him the same thing, but he has been very stubborn lately, he says, slowly looking at his plate. I will try. He looks at you abruptly. I mean, I will take his dinner to him after I eat and make sure he eats it. He needs it. Namjoon is still surprised. Okay, you can try. Yeah, that's why I'm here, right? You raise your brow and he chuckles. After your dinner, you pick up the plates for Taehyung. Namjoon notices you're struggling to carry the plates. Here, take the plates from one and go to Taehyung's room with her. You look at Hia and she approaches you, but you stop her. No, it's okay, I want to take them myself. You press your lips together to prevent a smile. You knock on Taehyung's door, hesitating for a moment before entering. Hyung, I already said I don't want to eat right now. He growls, his voice cold and commanding, clearly expecting someone else. You sigh and push the door open anyway. His sharp eyes, unusually filled with menace, soften slightly when they land on you. You have to eat, you say firmly. Who gave you permission to enter? His voice is icy, but there was a flicker of something else in his gaze. I don't need your permission to take care of you, he replied, meeting his gaze without flinching. Tang watches you intently as you fuss over him, his expression unreadable. Despite the pain from his broken right hand and the two bullets wound in his waist, he tries to sit up straighter, wincing slightly, his head and body. You are stubborn, he mutters, but there's a hint of admiration in his voice. Why do you care so much? Because it's my job, you reply, but your voice is softer now, and because you need to get better. Taehyung's lips curl into a faint smile. Do you have always take your job this seriously, doctor? He asks, his tone teasing. Only when my patient is as difficult as you. You shook back, trying to keep the atmosphere light. He chuckles softly, a rare sound that surprised you. Well, I suppose I should be grateful then, he says, his eyes never leaving yours. You should, you respond, trying to ignore the fluttering in your chest. Now eat before the food gets cold. Taehyung reaches for the blade with his left hand, but you stop him from using his left hand, your finger brushing against his. The briefing touch sends a jolt through both of you. You quickly retract your hand, feeling a bit frustrated. You can't use your hands, remember, you remind him, who used to feed you. Taehyung hesitated before answering. Namjoon had here, one of the maids, feed me at first. He admits reluctantly, but I didn't like the way she tried to seduce me, so I stopped letting her. I have been eating on my own when I can, but my left hand is injured too. Today it hurts too much to use. You feel a pang for him. Here, let me help you, say, gently picking up the spoon. Taehyung's eyes narrow. I don't need your pity, he says coldly. This isn't pity, you reply sharply. This is a part of my job and you need it. You are too stubborn for your own good, he mutters between bites, but he doesn't resist. You are too proud of yours, you resort. You ignore his gaze and start to feed him. He watches you with a mixture of defiance and something else you can't quite identify. As you finished feeding him, your eyes falls on his shirt, which is clearly not something he could have. Who changed your shirt? You asked, who already suspect the answer. Here did, he replied nonchalantly. I thought you didn't like her, you say, raising an eyebrow. Well, let her do your personal business. Taehyung makes understanding the underlying concern in your question. He had overheard your conversation with Hia earlier by his room. She gives a good massage, he says with a smirk. Namjoon assigned her because it will me feel better. You feel a strange tension rising within you. The thought about Hia touching him bothers you more than you like to admit. Maybe you should choose someone else for the massage, you suggested hesitantly. Taehyung raises an eyebrow, clearly surprised by suggestion. An idea forms in his mind. And his smirk depends. Alright, he agrees, but in one condition. What condition, you ask, your voice barely above a whisper. You will have to help me change my clothes from now on, he says, his deep voice low and deliberate. I suppose I could do that, you stammer, trying to maintain your composure. Taehyung makes soften into a satisfied smile. Good, he says, his eyes locking onto yours with an intensity that makes your heart race. After making sure he ate, you returned to your room with heart pounding. You could have lied to yourself about your feelings for him. The signs he is showing clearly indicate he wants to get closer to you. Next day, after waking up, you went downstairs because another maid told you it was time for breakfast. After finishing your breakfast, you took some for Taehyung. When you checked his room earlier, he was still sleeping, so you decided not to wake him up until he brought his breakfast. When I'm in my study room, if you need anything, ask Taehyung or call me, okay? You nod and he leaves. You carry the plates and open the door to Taehyung's room and your eyes widen. Hia had unbuttoned Taehyung's shirt and was kissing his while he was deep asleep. Her dress was overly. You had opened the door slowly, so Hia hadn't noticed you yet. Anger built inside you. What the hell are you doing here? He shouts, causing Taehyung to wake up. He slowly opens his eyes, and when he starts, he notices her very close to him. His eyes widen and he shifts away in bed. What are you doing here? He shouts at her. She pouts and looks at you angrily, but when she looks at Taehyung, she tries to appear innocent. Yeah, Taehyung, I came here to wake you up and give you breakfast and to give you a massage. You like that, don't you? Taehyung's eyes redden. Taehyung, how many times do I have to tell you not to say my name? He gritted his teeth. Yeah, okay, master. Taehyung, get the hell out if you don't want to die, he shouts, causing both of you and Hia to flinch. You notice something in his you have never seen before. Tears start to form in Hia's eyes as she runs from the room. You are still standing in your spot with the plates in hand, and your eyes land on the nightstand where another breakfast plate is already placed. Can you please come here, or you are going to stand there all day? Your mates are weird, you blurt out. Are you talking about that creep? Yeah, I agree. She is our enemy's daughter. Don't worry, today will be her day. What do you mean? You sat beside him on the bed. His eyes falls on your flowing hair. Noticing you haven't put in a bun as you usually do, he gets lost in your beauty. When he softly pronounced your name, you are beautiful. Your cheeks burn as you look away, your heart beating fast. You feel him brushing a strand of your hair from your shoulder. Thanks, you should have breakfast now. You need to recover quickly. You try to ignore your feelings, but your eyes widen when Taehyung pulls you and you land beside him. What? Your presence is enough for me to feel better. Your body starts to feel hot. You are half laying on the bed and Taehyung's face is close to yours. What are you doing? You shyly ask. Taehyung looks at you and then moves a bit. I'm sorry if I made you uncomfortable. You stare at his perfect face for a few seconds. He doesn't understand, but then you place your hands on his face and start to caress his cheeks. Taehyung is still surprised, but he feels butterflies in his stomach and places his hands over yours. Why don't I feel uncomfortable? You ask him. He's taken back, then he smiles. Taehyung, because you are different, when you make me feel alive. His voice is low and intense, making your heart beat even faster. He gently pulls you closer again, his eyes searching yours for any signs of hesitations. This isn't right, you stammer, though you can't bring yourself to move away from him. Taehyung, why not? I have never felt this way about anyone. You come into my life and change everything. He strokes your hair, his touch sending shiver down your spine, his gaze is intense, filled with but you are my patient, you whisper, your voice trembling, his eyes darken slightly at a word, but the intensity of his gaze doesn't waver. And you are my doctor, but does that mean we have to deny what's happening between us? His voice is husky, filled with a dangerous edge that both excites and scares you. You can feel his breath on your face, the warmth on his body close to yours. When Taehyung starts to say particles of you, his hand gently forming cupping your face. I need you one more than you can imagine. His words send a jolt through you. There's a possessiveness in his tone, a hint of something darker, yet you can't deny the way your body responds to his touch, the way your heart races at his word. I don't know what to say. You admit your voice barely a whisper. He leans in closer, his lips almost brushing yours. Dan, don't say anything. Just stay with me. Let me take care of you as you take care of me. His words are a command, not a request. There is an intensity in his eyes, a determination that makes it clear he's not going to let you go easily. Before you can respond, there is a knock on the door. You both freeze and spell between you momentarily broken. Namjoon's voice, why in Taehyung, are you both alright? I heard shouting earlier. Taehyung pulls away slightly, but his hand remains on your face, his touch gentle yet possessive. We are fine, Hyung. Just a minor disagreement. He calls out, his voice steady and authoritative. Then he looks back at you, his eyes softening. You should go get some rest, but remember when I meant every word. He releases you, his finger lingering on your skin for a moment before he lets you go completely. You stand up. As you leave the room, you can't help but feel a strange mix of fear and excitement. Taehyung's dangerous, a cold mafia boss with a reputation that precedes. Few hours later, as you sit in the living room, you can't stop thinking about him, his touch, his words, the intensity of his gaze. You need to understand what's happening, need to confront the feeling that have taken root in your heart. Namjoon, Dr. Wan, are you alright? I'm fine, Mr. Kim, just a lot on my mind. You reply, trying to sound more confident than you feel. Namjoon nods so he doesn't look entirely. If you need to talk, I'm here. His tone gentle. After some minutes, you head to Taehyung's room. As you open the door, you find him in a balcony, his eyes immediately locking onto yours. There's a moment of silence. Taehyung, I want to talk with you. You say, your voice steady, the nods gesturing you to come in. I was hoping you had to say that. His voice is soft, but there's a dangerous edge in it, sends you a shiver. What did you mean in the morning about needing me? He asked, sitting on the edge of his bed, his gaze is intense, unwavering. I meant exactly what I said when you are the only one who makes me feel alive, the only one I trust, and I won't let anyone or anything come between us. His words are both reassuring and unsettling. When I love you from the moment I first laid eyes on you, exactly 1 week ago, every second since then, 168 hours, 10,080 minutes, and seconds I have been falling deeper and deeper for you. You find yourself lost in his deep, mesmerizing eyes and his voice. When think I love you start to say, but he cuts you off, his lips brushing yours in a soft, tentative kiss. Your heart pounds in your chest, your mind a whirlwind of emotion. For a moment you kiss him back, lost in intensity of the moment. You both pull away. Think I love you more, he cups your cheeks.